power window conversion for your 99 to 06 Silverados, Tahoes, Suburbans, like all the GMT800 style stuff. Here's what you're gonna need. You're gonna need to get yourself a door panel, a window regulator, and a 99 to 02 switch. We'll talk about that here in a minute. And what you're gonna be taking out is your old manual door window and your manual window track. I've already started taking this door panel apart, but this is the old manual deal. And then there is what our power window kind of setup looks like. So that is what we are going to. And well, obviously get rid of the door panel. With the door panel out of the way, now you're gonna take the door handle out. There's a little tab right here. Pull this back, pull this rod up and out, and pull the 10 mil out of it, and then pull this plastic jazz off of the door. And now you need to loosen that 10 mil, and then you're gonna roll the window up, and then you will have to loosen that 10 mil, and then I take tape and strap the whole window all the way up there at the top. But for right now, we're gonna take that out. All right, so window taped up. Then you're gonna have the bolt right here, bolt here at the top. You're just gonna take those out. And then same thing over here, bolt down here, bolt in the actual regulator, and then a bolt up here at the top. So you're just gonna zizz those out. And then you're just going to push this window track in, push up and in. And then you will kind of get it like wiggled from here to come out. So, boop. That track is now out. This track down, this track out. And there is the manual window track. And then get your power window track and install that the same way that you remove the manual window track. Now, with the power window regulator installed, I go to the local junkyard, mine happens to be a pull apart, and get the electrical connector that fits this plug. So once you have that, I take a Milwaukee battery. You can use the battery out of the truck. This just happens to be easily accessible. And then you're gonna roll that window track down and undo those 10s to be able to get the window to slide back into the track. And then untape the window and then settle it down into the groove right there. And the same thing right here. So now that that's in there, we're going to tighten that 10 mil back up, drop the whole window regulator down, and then tighten the other 10 mil up. And now with that back bolt installed, I'll cycle the window all the way down, all the way up, make sure that the window track is working. And now that that is done, we can worry about wiring this thing into the rest of this. Now you're gonna need to get a 99 to 03 switches, because this has the switch and the relay built into the actual door switch, whatever you wanna call this. So now that we have that out of the way, 99 to 02, I'll show you how to wire them in. You're gonna basically have three different deals. So these tan and blue one that comes out of that connector right there is going to be the crossover to control that door. And then your green and black, which is that pin and that pin, is going to be your power you're going to get from this fuse box in here. And then your blue and brown comes down here to actually where your motor is. And that's how all that gets wired in. And that's just for the window switches. I don't care about the power locks or power mirrors and none of that. I just want power windows. So that's how that goes together. And it was at this point in time I realized I didn't have a schematic to show y'all. So here is the schematic for how all this stuff is wired up. And then same thing basically applies over to the passenger side window. You're gonna have a green and a black wire, and then you're gonna have an auxiliary black wire. That's to be able to ground your relays out. So you've got one like ground for the motor and then a ground for the relays. So as you can see, pins G and J are grounded out for that switch to work. If you do just the big thick ground that's on there, it won't work because the relays won't switch on. Anywho, there's that information. Now, you're going to have your blue and brown, your blue and whatever color it is, that goes over to your motor. Same thing as what the driver's side is. And then you're going to have your tan and blue, which is your crossover from the driver's side controller. But all that's right there in the schematic. So now we're going to take our door panel and install the door panel onto the door and work all of our electrical into it, and then we'll kind of tighten that up so that it's tidy. All right, I got slightly ahead of myself, but we have our switchboard connected into all those wires that I showed you earlier, and then we got the switchboard clicked into here, got the door panel all the way put on, so we got all the trim and everything. And then for those wires, I ran them through this deal right here, so you can see the crossover and the 12 volts. And then it's the same deal over there. It comes into here. We have all of this is 12 volt. This is to be able to run the power seats, but this is just 12 volts. So feed your 12 volt going into that switch right there, and then we've got 12 volt feeding that switch over there, and then we have 12 volt to feed the seats. This wire is our crossover wire, so this is what gives the signal, that blue and tan wire, from this passenger switch to run that passenger window. And then I just grounded it, ground right there. This truck is 2-wheel drive, so I took my 4-wheel drive power. I'm gonna add a fuse into that. But now that you see that, you turn the ignition on and automatic window works. And then for the passenger side window control works just like you would expect. I'm gonna add a 15 amp fuse, which is what that 4-wheel drive system would call for, out of that circuit, so that will be able to power the power windows. And yeah, that's it. Door panels, regulators, switches. Remember, 99 to 02 switches. If you get the 03 to 06 switches, those require a body control module because they're just a physical switch. They're not actually, they don't have the relays and anything else built into them, so they won't work like the 99 to 02 stuff will. But there you go, and then it's all factory jazz, so it's pretty nice to have power windows. No longer cranking this thing up and down. But then you'd go through and you'd clean up all of this wiring, tuck it up underneath the dash. Same thing going on over there. But I'm gonna leave this one the way that it is because I gotta run this wire back to be able to run this power seat, run that power seat. But that is how you do power windows on a 99 to 07 Silverado 2500, the OBS GMT800 stuff. Remember, 99, 02. Can't stress that enough. People are gonna message me, hey, I got switches, it's out of an 04. Like, it's not gonna work. And then it works basically on Silverados, Suburbans, Tahoes, anything with this. You are going to need the window regulator, the door panel, whatever color trim that stuff is in, and then the switches, and then some wiring. You need a 7mm to take the door panel off. You need a little pick to be able to take the window crank off. And then you're going to need a 10 to be able to unbolt all the other stuff. So that's all.